Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show, The Strange Reality with Dave Emmons. And I've had a break here a couple of weeks, so I think I posted some travel pictures on Facebook, and you might realize that I've been gone for a little bit. But I'm really glad to have this chance to start the show back up again. If I'm a little rusty, then don't pay any mind to it. But yeah, I've had my own experiences lately, and on while I was traveling the last couple of weeks, some really experiences that just explaining to a guest that's going to be on tonight, and he's a professional in this area. So I thought maybe we talked just prior to the show about some of these experiences. Andrew Radziewicz, Razzie is what he likes to be called, right? Radziewicz. Okay.
Yeah, growing up, my last name was just way too long for everyone, so everyone would just call me Raz,
Raz.
R-A-Z. Keep it
Okay.
simple.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's just a long name, so
Yeah.
yeah.
But you might have seen him on TV. He's been all over History Channel, been all over Ancient Aliens, and he's got his own movie that he's got out, a documentary, and he's winning some awards on it. We're going to get into that. And this is Andrew was serving in 1999. Andrew was serving the U.S. Coast Guard and had a life-changing UFO encounter. They're all life-changing, aren't they, Andrew? And
That's
with
right.
20 other witnesses. Andrew met Dr. Stephen Greer and learned the CE5 method in 2011. He trained with a psychic medium, Robert Henson, in Long Island, New York. Andrew became a very good psychic medium and does readings for clients, some of whom have been movie stars. Andrew can contact UFOs with his abilities and has had videos sent to MUFON that confirm they were real. Andrew has worked as a fireman and medic in New York City. He has worked as a mortician in Australia and shared some of those stories in his show. He has been in Ancient Aliens and his Discovery Channel show, Close Encounters Down Under, a six-part documentary. Andrew's website is, and we'll explain to that, that's a psychicfirefighter.com, and we'll get into that a little later. Andrew Radziewicz, uh, how do you say for yourself now, and what's going on with you?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Dave. It's always great to catch up. The show that you mentioned before, that just if anyone wants to watch it, it's called Close Encounters Down Under. I'm in episode 4. If you go to my website, psychicfirefighter.com, you just click on media. I have it right there on my site. But if you are in Australia, it's on Apple, it's on Binge, and it was aired on Channel 7, and it's been shown all over the world through Discovery, History, all sorts of channels. But the easiest way is just go to my website. You can watch the whole clip right there. And then we talked about recently, I'm currently involved with a project called Contact. It's a 3-part series, and it was just selected for its 5th film festival already. And I am beyond grateful for this whole experience, and it's going to be amazing. It's a peer-reviewed film.
That's exciting. I just like the name Contact, and I guess this new featured film called Contact. It's been selected by 4 festivals and been peer reviewed. Could you tell us a little bit about that show or documentary that you got, Andrew?
Sure. So Contact is a 3-part series that what we call there's 3 different realms or types of contact. You have the paranormal realm, the divine realm, the astral realm. And there's people out there that might have had encounters with angelic type beings. There's people out there that have had contact with alien grays. And then there's people out there that have had contact with loved ones that have crossed over. So there's different categories of contact. I've had all the 3 different realms happen to me personally. So in this 3-part series, I'm in all 3 parts, and you can see me doing a psychic reading. I actually do a psychic reading in one of the parts on a reverend. So that's an interesting thing that's going to come out, and everyone's going to see that. So I read someone that, works at a church and has dedicated his life to that. And he's a contactee as well. And that's going to come out in the film, which is amazing. And a lot of it is me sharing my experiences from me directly, me talking directly as what I've experienced from a young person through my age till right now, because it has never stopped. And the coolest part about this film is that it has been peer reviewed by scientists and professionals in this field, which the peer review process is extremely rigorous. It's a brutal, hard process. It's tough. And, it could hurt people's feelings. And, not everyone likes to do it. It's the first film that I've ever been involved with that went about doing this for a film. And I am so excited for people to watch this. And the film itself, the three parts, they've been starting to get showed at some film festivals now. So it'll be at film festivals from now until February of 2026. And then in February of 2026, then it'll be released on Amazon Prime and all sorts of streaming services out there.
I've been seeing a lot of you on TV. Gaia, you were on Gaia, right? I think. I'm pretty sure.
Gaia, no, I haven't been on Gaia yet, unless they add something that I did, but no, I haven't been there personally yet. But mostly, like I said, Discovery History, all those channels have been
Yeah,
re-showing the Close Encounters show.
yeah.
So yeah, it's been making the rounds all over the world. So yeah, incredible.
Yeah, I know you've been all over the place on TV, and I see, and I tell my wife, said, I know Andrew. I know him. He's great. You're a great guy. You're pushing this envelope of UFOs and ATs, and you're sharing the enlightenment to other people, and that's what's great about it too. And you're psychic, and you've been around a lot of things. Okay, let's get down into what part of this documentary or this film are you? Are you the producer or director, Andrew?
So I'm just in the film. I'm just featured in the film. I'm not the producer or director. The producer is amazing. So the producer of the film, people could look this up. Her name is Sharon Rowland. She'll be doing interviews later on at some point. She's not doing any right now, but she put out a film called Alchemy, and you could watch that on Tubi, and that won 7 awards. So the first film she ever made won 7 awards. It was selected for 10 film festivals, won seven. It's a very spiritual type film. And
Mm.
now this current project, it's same producer, same director. It's amazing, and it's just making the rounds. It's already being shown worldwide at film festivals, and I'm in there just giving my testimony and showing how I do psychic readings, literally showing me doing the readings. Everyone wants to see me doing the readings in person. Well, we recorded some readings. They show me in the film doing the readings, some feedback from people that I've read and how it's affected and changed their lives. And then, of course, my UFO footage and UFO experiences, which Dave, and anyone that looks me up, you go to my website, psychicfirefighter.com, go to any of my social media platforms. I always share my UFO footage because along this journey of having UFO contact basically my whole life of having it, but filming it for over the past decade and having a good Psionics night vision camera, I've gotten some very good footage. I've had the footage analyzed professionally by MUFON. I've had it analyzed by Jason Gleaves at ufonly.com. And it's been on TV and shown all over the world. And it hasn't stopped, Dave, and it's changed. So even the contact that I experience now, it's evolved. It's not like it was when I started many years ago. The craft, the size, the shape, the intensity, and what I'm getting on camera, it's even different now. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Now, so you've learned through Dr. Greer's program CE5, and you can call UFOs in or UAPs, whatever you want to call them. You can call them in at will, Andrew.
Yeah, so people, when I'm in the Close Encounters show, Close Encounters down under episode 4, they say that it's the man who can summon UFOs. And I think that's completely accurate because you can call it what you want. You want to call it meditating, guiding, harnessing in, vectoring in, whatever you want, summoning. People get a little out of hand when they hear the word summoning. They think it's like an evil thing or no, but basically there's an interface when we sit, we meditate, and we open up, and that seems to attract the phenomena. Now I have 15 years of experience doing CE5. I know that it works. And from the time I started doing it till now, I'm able to attract the craft way faster than I ever have been, as opposed to when I started out. When I started out, it would take me a while. I'd have to sit there for 30 minutes, an hour, and I'm trying to figure all this out. Now it's instantaneous.
No. Now, I just told you a story before we got started. I wanted to ask you a question. And when you meditate, I don't meditate a lot. I'll pray or I'll think about things. But when you're driving on the road, it seems like you get hypnotized by the road. And if you're doing it for a while, it seems like you attract, I guess, UFOs. They come to you. That's what they did to me. My mind was I guess highway hypnosis or whatever, and I drew this in, and so it's kind of like meditating, but not really meditating. You're driving a wall. Now, does that work also, Andrew? Highway hypnosis.
Yeah. So, and that's excellent. That's an excellent way to describe it. So, when you are doing anything that induces a flow state, so meditation, running, driving in a car for a long distance, it's a repetitive action over and over. You get in a flow. You feel in sync, and you're going. Now, you're not consciously saying, "Let me go drive so I can attract some UFOs." No, but a side effect of doing that, going in this flow state, this repetitive state, it induces this contact, and I feel that it attracts the phenomena. And oh my God, there are countless stories of people driving on the highway for periods of time. Some people a little bit faster than others, and then they're in the middle of nowhere, and boom, a light appears or a being appears. It could happen during the day. It's more likely to happen at night or when you're isolated. But yes, it's because your brain, right? We're at a certain frequency or a certain station on a radio. Just picture like we're always at 96 FM. When you are driving, meditating, running, or doing something repetitive over and over, you change your frequency, or you could say you want to raise from 96 FM to 97 FM. Now, when you raise your vibration or you go up on the dial, on the radio dial, the extraterrestrials, the aliens, the UFOs, the angels, the phenomena, I believe they are aware that we're doing that, and they will drop down, say from they're at 98 FM all the time, they will drop down to 97, and now all of us are on 97 FM, and we're able to engage and interact. And then when the phenomena or the experience ends, boom, we drop down to 96, they go up to 98, and boom, it's over.
Hmm. Now, I was talking to you earlier. I actually still am a little bit nervous of what I just told you because it's I you have this UFO overcoming fear and skepticism as a contactee. I'm not even calling myself a contactee. I'm calling myself a participant, actually, because, like you said, it's a lifelong thing. You've been seeing and getting involved in UFOs ever since you were young, and so have I. I'm older than you, and they're still showing themselves to me. Still paranormal, and things are happening. Could you tell the audience how to overcome the fear? I don't think it's fear. I think it's just excitement that I'm just nervous about. It's just something that just hits you when it happens. But how do the people overcome fear whenever they see their first UFO, Andrew?
So a lot of people have come to me over the years that have had negative interactions, or they feel that they've been abducted by something. It might appear to be extraterrestrial or something they don't know, something that they think might be demonic, or it's doing something to them and they're not quite sure what's going on. So the best thing, if you've had that happen, is to number one, when I first got into this UFO land and started sharing my experiences, I had met a lady named Mary Rodwell, who's phenomenal, and she does hypnotic regression, and she helps people who have had negative experiences work through them. So when I met her, I remember I got together with her, and just like this, right on the computer, I got together with her because I wanted to get answers about what was going on. What's my mission? Who am I? Where did I come from? Where am I going? And how can I map this out or figure this out? Because this was all new to me, sharing this and trying to make sense of it. And if you go to the wrong people, or you go to some people, maybe some relatives or people out there that do not want to talk about this or are ashamed, or they don't want you looking into this, they might tell you things to further push you away from looking into this. So I notice if you go to people with a lot of experience, so someone like Mary Rodwell, someone like myself, there's people out there, Dr. Stephen Greer. The reason I went to him, I went to Mary Rodwell for assistance. They had over 20 years experience in this field. And when I was a new firefighter and I walked in the firehouse, I remember going, well, should I be learning from somebody that is brand new here for a month, or should I be going speaking to a guy that is 25 years to learn what to do? I'm going to go with the person that is 25 years. I might be able to learn from the person with a year or a month, but I know the person with 20 something years, they've been around, they've survived, they've been through the ringer, and I want to know everything. So for me, I recommend finding people that have a lot of experience, a lot of long-term experience, and going to them, and they can help guide you and navigate your individual experience. So for some people learn how to meditate. That can help. Some people learn how to pray, like you said before. That's great. Whatever works. Everyone has something different that might work for them individually.
Mhm.
I've had people come to me personally. I've gone out with them at night. I've sat with them. I've done a CE5 with them. We've had an encounter. And then after, they said, wow, I didn't realize it was that. I feel so much more at peace because I trust you, Andrew. I know that you wouldn't let anything happen or anything funky because you've been doing this for such a long time. I've never been around anyone in a CE5 circle in my life, all over the world. I've never been in one CE5 circle with someone that got abducted or had anything funky happen. Never on my watch. It might have happened on their own, but I've never had that happen with anyone because if it did, you'd probably hear about it already.
Mhm.
You'd probably go online and they'd say, I went with him and this happened. So I will sit with people, have an encounter, and I noticed that by having an encounter and someone like Mary Rodwell, she does hypnotic regression and she does all sorts of things with people where she can look into your lineage, okay, and see where you're from, what star system your star family is from. And with that, that can help people put together where they're from, why they're here, what their mission is. So, for example, if you said to me, Andrew, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't know what to do with this. I met Mary Rodwell and I sat with her on Zoom. And I remember I sat with her, I closed my eyes, I got relaxed. And then I remember doing this. Oh my God, it was amazing. But I literally saw events from my past. So in hypnotic regression, you could see events from the past, present, future. I saw the past, but I did say to her, I said, Mary, they're showing me something from the future. They're showing me you and I, meaning me and Mary, working together on a television project where we're going to share this story with the world. Now, I met Mary in 2017. I didn't know her. I didn't know her at all. And I was living in Brooklyn at the time, not Australia, where she's from.
Mhm.
I go, but I see you and I working together, and we're going to have a platform where we could share this story with the world through television. I see us talking and sharing this world to the masses. I go, but I've never said that to anyone. Well, fast forward to 2022, 5 years later, and I do the show Close Encounters Down Under. People could watch, and I'm speaking, sharing my stories. They're showing my UFO footage. They go from me, and then they have Mary Rodwell come in and talk about my experiences. And I didn't know that. They didn't tell me. So I'm talking about my experiences, and then right after Mary explains what she thinks about what I'm experiencing and what it means. So from the time I met her and I said, I see this happening, the ETs are showing me an event in the future. That happened. 100% that happened.
Mhm.
I even recorded the session. So when I met Mary, I recorded the session with her. So I actually still even have the recording of when I said that to her. And then 5 years later, that actually happened. So that's all I know. I can't talk about anyone else or their experiences out there. That's their business. But I know when I met Mary and I saw things, saw something coming in the future, it actually happened. And obviously, that changed my life and impacted it greatly and all these other amazing things that happened. So I trust her. I know with whatever I experienced in the past and whatever currently I was going through, I trust her to guide me and help navigate some things that I experienced that I couldn't make sense of. And I know this contact thing can be very confusing for people, Dave.
Yeah, I know. I know a lot of people are afraid to talk about it once they see a UFO or ET. They're afraid of ridicule, and that happens. It's true, 50% of the time. When I had you're right on because I had to vent to somebody back in 2010. I had a big ET connection meeting, And I contacted Kathy Martin. You might know her. Linda Moe Hall. I talked to her. And I also talked to a biological supervisor. Her name was Joanne. I talked to her. So I had people that I could call and say, this just happened to me. What do I expect? What's going on here? So they'll tell me. So I heard this event or this abduction type thing happened to somebody else just last week. So they kind of give you, some information that'll help settle you down that you're not the only one that this is happening to. So let's get into this too. This world is going crazy. I mean, ideologically, politically, we won't talk about that. That's just for entertainment mentioning. But we have a lot of UFO activity going on right now. We have the Booga Spear, and I saw one September 18th, and I told you about it. This sphere looks exactly like the Booga Spear at a distance, but this one shot energy at me and shook my car, and it was going vroom, 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 vroom like that. And there was a huge vibration inside the car and a hum, like the Taos hum. I had that Taos hum, but it was really loud. So they did something, and these things can fire back at you. And I saw it again in Idaho, and I saw it to the side of me and is following me in Idaho from Montana. Get this, from Montana to Idaho, I saw it. But that's why I was a little nervous, and I was talking to you, and I'm still a little nervous about talking about that. And I've had a lot of UFO encounters, but they seem to get either as you get older and they keep going, you keep wondering, what the heck is this all about? Mike, I might, just think, okay, I'll just pass this off, but it's kind of hard to do that. Andrew, could you tell us that the people that have, these events constantly throughout their life, what's the best way to handle it?
So, yeah, for every person, it's different because, once you share about this publicly, especially nowadays, the internet is forever.
Yeah.
So, whatever you share or whatever's out there, or you're not certain if you want to go there or share it, and you do, even if you take it down or get rid of it, someone probably made a copy of it, or they can go on the, Wayback Machine and find it or whatever. So, it's permanent. That's the thing. So, you have to be ready, and everyone's level of ready is different. If you're not ready to have your life change, possibly your family's life change, then don't do anything, because then don't do anything. That's all I could say. Because once you go in, there's no return. And I could say, for example, when I started sharing my stories, I just wanted to get information and share my experiences with people. I didn't realize side by side at the same time when I came forward that the New York Post, a journalist there, was writing an article about me, and they did, and they wrote it. I had no idea. I thought I was just sharing with people, online that I met, and someone was secretly, I didn't know them, they didn't reach out to me personally, on their own. I don't know how they found me, but they were writing an article, and they dropped an article about me. Now, when it first happened, I was not happy about it. I did not want that. I didn't want to come out and just say, hey, I'm a contactee, blah, 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 in the news. I wasn't looking for that attention. You know what I mean? I was just online looking for answers. But once the genie was out of the bottle, there was no putting it back. And I had to make the best of it, because now I can't walk back what I'm saying. I wasn't going to do that anyway. And I just figured, well, I came out with a good intention sharing my story. However people react, that's up to them. But that same article, which I thought was a curse, is actually one of the biggest blessings for me personally, because all the cards are on the table. It's all out there now. So I don't really mind, because you want to know, you want to see a little definitive thing at the time, just read that article. Everything in there that I said is true. If I experience it, I would talk about it. I wasn't holding things back. And yes, honesty for me has always been the way. It's always been the best policy, to talk about things and get out my contact experiences. I know because people from all over the world have contacted me and said, thank you so much for sharing this. I could never do that. I don't know if I could do what you're doing, but I'm glad that you're doing it. You're giving us a voice. And I always looked at it like this, Dave. If I don't do this, who will?
Right.
I'm not waiting for the next person to take a risk, or to, risk their career or whatever. I'm not waiting for that, because most people are not willing to risk their comfort for the truth. That's the reality.
Mhm.
Because if people were honest about the contact experiences, they would come forward and just share it. But there's hundreds upon thousands of contactees out there that have privately messaged me and said, "Don't mention my name, don't say anything, da 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 da." And I'm like, oh my God, I know I don't have to live like that, and I don't want to. I'm not worried about who knows, who doesn't know, what relative. That's it. They all know. It's all out. So for me, my kids know, you know what I mean? There's no, it's out. I remember what that was like though at first when I didn't want anyone to know. And that's a weird time, but I could say net for me personally, now that it's out, I feel free. You may not feel that. Somebody listening may not feel that. And then other people listening may feel that after. They may go, wow, I feel so free now. Now there's no secrets. Everyone knows. I don't have to hide or worry about to say what to say or not say. And this is why this is important. By me sharing this and getting this out there will be somebody out there that will contact you and go, "Oh my God, I'm not the only person.
Right.
Thank God you shared that." If I don't share that and I don't say anything, there might be somebody out there that can't talk to somebody or can't reach out to somebody or contact me for a reading or whatever. You know what I mean? If I don't just share what I'm sharing and I don't lay out how I can help and assist you, I'm not doing what I feel I'm meant to do. And I know that my purpose here is to help others navigate their life through ET contact and making sense of that, and with losing loved ones and making sense of that. And I'm in sync with what I'm doing. Now, everyone out there, they might want to keep doing their career or they don't want to lose their pension. That's totally up to them. And I'm not saying to lose that or walk away from that. Do what you think. You got a family, you got to work that out. Everyone's an individual. And I don't ever tell anyone what to do. I'm just real about, hey, if you do this, there's no free lunch. It's not just going to work out great. You know what I mean? There's things that are going to come with that. And I speak from experience. So I'm going to be real. I'm not just going to give you some BS love and light answer about everything. It's not that.
Mhm.
We live in a yin yang reality. So we have good and we have bad. If you make a decision or you reveal something, you're going to get good people, and then you're going to get the other side of that. It's a duality here. It's not all good and it's not all bad. So as long as you're willing to accept that, truly accept that, okay,
Yeah.
then maybe you want to come forward to talk about it, just knowing that it may not all be a good, it may not be all bad. It's going to be a mix.
Right. '08, I know where you're coming from on this. In '08, I decided I was getting of age to where I don't care. I'm going to let it all out. So I started with some radio interviews about my experiences. Since then, I've written 4 books, and I'm going to start on my 5th book, and it's going to deal with interdimensional beings, in which I got enough material in a ledger to write 2 more books, but I'm going to try to get this one book, the 5th book, out. And I've done over 250 shows, and you're right, it stays on the internet. It's there. So you have to take the attitude like, I'm going to do this, and heck with it. And I'm too old now to even worry about what people think. But now we are being vindicated because of all the UFO sightings that's going on worldwide, and with this AI Atlas, whatever 3i Atlas, it's coming our way, and we don't know what it is. What do you think it is, Andrew, with all this UFO activity that we have here on Earth? We got about 5 or 6, I guess, races, ET races, that are underwater bases, and the government admits that there's underwater bases. So we are vindicated. We can come out and talk as we please, and we can say, well, we told you so. I don't want to act like that, but we did. The ones that come out early and talk about this. Can you explain why we're having so many UFO sightings now? My brother has been recording all kinds of orbs and stuff with it. He's got a special camera, and I told him, I said, why don't you, download on WeTransfer? And I said, send them to me or whatever. He said, no, I don't want the men in black to follow me around. I said, they're not going to do that now. I said, the cat's out of the bag. I think they're not doing that so much now. I don't think the men in black is gone. Do you think the same way, Andrew?
So I could say this for sure. If you hold on to anything or a secret or whatever, to me, that's a threat. You got to be very careful. If you have information, you know something, meaning that could help, or this is slightly dangerous, yeah, of course, you maybe want to get a lawyer and share that what you know. But I'm talking about UFO videos or something, like that. Get it out, reveal it, because then everyone knows. Once again, you hit the internet, boom, it's there, it's viral, it's out. There's no taking it back. Then they're not going to come after you because now it's out there. If anything happens, oh my God, now it's going to look obvious. But if you hold on to it or you're keeping it a secret, also, once again, I feel that wherever we come from, God, source, energy, whatever it is, it just gives us more of what we put out. So if we put out fear, we're going to get more fear. If we put out more love, we're going to get more love. So we got to be very careful what we send out, what we transmit. Okay. Because when you send that out, you're going to get it. It's like it smacks you back in the face. You know what I mean? And that's why these things can grow and amplify. The mind is extremely powerful. Okay. Our minds are so powerful. There's a lot of, a lot to the brain that we don't even know what it does, or science maybe isn't quite sure yet. I could say about Atlas. Avi Loeb is a scientist looking into this, dropping papers and everything. My ears are wide open. Journalists can say what they want, but they're not scientists. So they're just going to say what they think. I know there's craft all over the place right now. They're right there. Now, you can't see them all the time. I know they had a special glass in Russia. It was looked like it was like literally looked like a piece of glass that you could hold it up to the sky and people could see craft in the daytime. This glass is extremely difficult to get. I know the military had it, like in Germany and Russia, and soldiers were seeing like interdimensional beings, ETs, craft. They were seeing it with this glass. There's a special glass out there. You can't, it's like impossible to get. And they were seeing these things during the day. So yes, I believe that there are all sorts of energies and entities all flooded throughout this haunted planet. We're in a haunted planet, literally. So yes, it's here now. It's an actual mothership coming in. Hey, if it lands, great. I can't wait to see it. You know, I don't think, number one, if that happened, that there would be a threat or anything like that. I haven't felt anything like that personally, but whether it's Atlas or something else, they're all over already. They're here. Yeah, that's nothing new. They're all always here. They're just constantly trying to hide the reality. I know the government's trying to hide it, but they have satellites that they're filming these things, and they have been for years. You talked about, politicians recently speaking up, and yes, the politicians, the people in Congress, the seeing members of Congress, okay, and people in the White House, I would say the majority of them are contactees. They've seen craft. That's why they're so into it now. Not just doing this because they're getting public pressure. They could care less about that. It's because they've been personally affected. So now you know what it's like. Once you've seen a craft, you might have heard about it or whatever, or watched it on TV. Once you have that experience where you're like, what the heck?
Yeah.
That's it. It's all systems go. You have to know what's going on. And it's an obsession.
Yeah, a curiosity. Now, Three Eye Atlas, you mentioned that with Abby Loeb. I had a scientist on my show here a couple of months ago, and he worked with Abby Loeb, but in a compartmentalized situation. He didn't really work directly for him, but he was working under his command. And this is at Harvard. And he said that Abby Loeb has made 8 different, I guess, predictions in the past 7 or 8 years. And he said he was wrong on all of them. And he thinks he's wrong about Three Eye Atlas being an ET ship or an intelligent designed craft. And that's what Abby Loeb is bank 60%. He's saying it's 60% sure that it's an ET craft. What do you think, Andrew?
I mean, I would say no, most likely, probably not. But then again, if I don't have access to the data, right, that he has or what he's looking at. So I'm not discrediting. I'm just saying personally, intuitively, or what I'm picking up. No, because I've heard this story before. So I'd be highly skeptical of what, once again, if somebody's working in compartmentalized projects and works on black projects, I'm not saying Avi Loeb is, but a lot of people that are involved with these things are directly responsible for the cover up. So I don't trust what they're saying. I trust contactees and just me personally. So I know a couple contactees, some work at the Pentagon, but they're contactees. And the ones I've spoken to said, no, I don't know what the big deal is. It's nothing.
Okay, let's go to this Booga sphere.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's something, amazing. It'd be great. But oh my God, whenever it's a doomsday, or end of the world, or anything, it never is. Or at the 0 hour, something happens. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh my God, they want to just keep us in fear. And even I just want to say, even with Atlas, Avi Loeb, all he talks about it as it possibly being a threat. What if it's not a threat?
Right.
What
Well,
if it's this beautiful interaction saying it is a real craft and it comes and it's not a threat at all and it's some amazing life-changing thing for everyone? You know what I mean? Once again, look at what the people in charge, whenever they talk about this subject, it's always negative.
yeah. I think
And why?
explainers, contactees, experiencers, and participants, I'm actually adding another one there. You're participating with ETs, except you unknowingly you are participating, and you're not really you're further than a contactee. Uh, but this, I think, a lot of people with this three eye atlas, I think the people that are contactees or whatever, the experiencers, they're going to be more prone to believe that it could be an advanced civilization craft. If you took a poll, that's probably what you might get. But I'm sitting on the fence. I'm waiting for him to find out more information and legitimate information that NASA doesn't hide about this three eye atlas. Uh, the Boogosphere, I know we mentioned that, and I saw one, and I felt some of the energy that it can put off. They're saying that this Boogosphere is 15,000 years old through their investigations of it.
Uh,
Yeah, through carbon dating. That's what they're saying, and it's still active. And actually, what is it?
Dimensional?
It's transcript writing or something like that.
Oh, right, right,
Yeah,
right. Like
they
writing
say
or something.
it actually starts humming when you talk. This transcript that's been way back in ancient times.
Ah,
So yeah, that's all I've heard about the Boogosphere. But now I know something they haven't said, and I found out on my own that this thing can shoot you with energy. And it scared the heck out of me. And I don't know what they're doing. Like it goes vroom, 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 vroom,
gee.
and the car shook, and the vibrations inside and low hum. That put me in a daze. I didn't know what I was doing for about 30 seconds after I started driving, even. And I thought, wow, this is crazy. So, but that Buga spear, this one here has been damaged, or it fell, it hit a line or something and got damaged, and it didn't function. But if it functioned properly, anybody that come close to it, it would probably numbing you down. It would probably hit you with this magnetic energy. That's what I'm thinking, Andrew.
Yes. Well, I can tell you this too. So people know my experience, my background of being in the U.S. Coast Guard. Now, what people don't realize is the Navy, and even more than the Navy, the Coast Guard, is involved with crash retrievals. Okay. So nobody, and I've done a lot of interviews. I've done a lot of interviews over the years. Nobody has ever asked me if I've ever been involved with a crash retrieval.
Mm.
And I'm just saying this. I'm not saying if you'd asked me that, but when you do certain things, if it's a classified setting and you're in the military, you can't talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
You can't. So I'm just saying, even if you did or somebody did, I would say I have no comment. But I'm laying this out there for people listening. Look this up. The U.S. Coast Guard does crash retrievals for UFOs. Okay, and you see that the Navy, the Coast Guard, right? They bring them up. They're always doing this. You have, I know guys in the Coast Guard that are still in, okay, from when I was in the late 90s. They're still active, still working, and they've had direct contacts, okay? But they don't want to come forward, okay? So this Boogosphere, there's a ton of them out there like that. And Greer and people will never get their hands on it because the military has them. From craft to Boogospheres to larger shaped objects that have been retrieved. Sometimes they're just in the water. Sometimes the Coast Guard would have a heads up as to what they're looking for. Sometimes they don't. They just come across something. And if it's classified or you get a briefing, I can't, or anyone, you cannot talk about that unless you have authorization. So I'll just say the Boogosphere, yes, there are a ton out there. And the military is still, I know when I was in and still now, they're still actively engaging and interacting with objects like that. Yes.
I'm familiar with top secret security clearance. Let's talk about disclosure. I know you have this on your notes. We've been hearing like bits and pieces from Representative Luna and also I think that there's another representative who talks about it, and he said actually there was underground bases in the sea, and Representative Luna said that they're interdimensional beings from what all indications she has. So they are spilling the beans a little bit at a time, but they're not really totally disclosing. I think it's going to have to take the president to disclose all this information. So when do you think, or if we will get an honest disclosure, Andrew?
Um, yeah, I think that there's going to take more contactees that are in the political circle to bring this forward. We're almost there. I think the next level up, the next generation up of young people that are very open about this when they get there. So probably a decade, a decade off. I just don't think it's going to happen yet. But when you get enough people like that are running for serious levels of office that can talk about it openly, like, oh, I've interacted with this. I know what this is. This, I'm just saying, for example, abducted my aunt, my uncle. Oh, my child interacted with one, something like that. When we're hearing that coming directly from one of them, oh wow. Then with that, we're almost there. Once again, we're seeding, and this is a process. It's a slow drip. It's not going to happen overnight. And they're planning it. The government's trying to plan it and time it correctly and all that, and they're holding on, and there's an internal battle, but it's going to be unavoidable at some point. I think when enough people out there learn they could do CE5, which anyone can, as long as you're open, when enough people go out and do it, imagine everyone, or imagine every other person, or half the population was doing CE5. You would have 100 of craft in the sky each night, 100, and then there would be no discussion, and people would go, "Whoa, I could interact with this and make this happen," and blah blah blah. End of discussion, done.
Yeah.
So we're still playing around and looking in all these other crazy areas of classified You don't have to worry about any of that. Go outside, sit, meditate. These things will appear. If they appear and they're taking people, okay, well, we're going to have a different conversation. But that's not happening. That's not happening, at least with the CE5 groups, or with other people, with government programs that are out there. Yeah, they definitely take people and do awful things. But I think if enough people went out and did CE5, this would change the overall collective consciousness, and we could have disclosure the right way.
You said something a while ago that you believe contactees and experiencers. I do too. But there's gatekeepers out there that are
Yes.
in charge of the media. They're all in the media. I'll mention one, and because he said it one time on the air, George Knapp. He said it's a good thing we have commercial pilots, military pilots, and police telling us these things now that we can trust what they're saying. Apparently he's saying the contactees, you can't trust what they're saying. I don't believe that. I think that's wrong to be a gatekeeper and stop a lot of people from reporting what they've seen and heard. It's just like my events that happened in the last couple of weeks. I want people to know about them. I want them to know that I'm telling the truth. So gatekeepers
Yeah.
are kind of holding back a lot of the contactees. Don't you agree, Andrew?
Yeah, and you notice same thing. What's the name? Representative Anna Luna, whatever her name is,
Anna
who's
Paula.
all, yeah. So she said, enough. We want firsthand contactees and people that are interacting with the craft. Well, then why are you having George Knapp come to testify? He's got nothing to do with this. Stop. Bring the firsthand regular people, not military, not people that are humans, regular people that are interacting with the craft. The military people that are coming in, nothing against them. I'm just saying they have authorization to speak, and they have authorization on what they can share, and they've been told what they cannot share. If you just let in civilians, and there's no NDA, and they've interacted and they have proof and they have documents, which they do, that's a whole different conversation. They're not ready for that yet. They're saying one thing, but they're also keeping the machine going. That's why people listening, if you're a contactee, I feel truly in my heart that if the people lead, the leaders will be forced to follow us. We need to lead.
You
I'm
got
not waiting for them. We need to push the envelope, keep doing what we're doing. And then the leaders and all the people, they'll be left behind, or they will be following us saying, okay, where do we go next? But we have to organize and come together and take the bull by the horns and have legit, credible people, that have had documented cases, analyzed cases, the whole nine, not these military things that are black projects. I mean, come on. They basically said the Nimitz was a Lockheed project. Come on, this is absurd. Now, I'm just saying, meaning if that is the truth, that's ridiculous that we just went through this whole thing in the New York Times and they lied to Ralph Blumenthal and blah, 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 and all this stuff to find out that it was really a Lockheed project. That's sick. That's sick. I said that from day one. I go, the Nimitz thing is too perfect. It's too perfect. When you have contact, it's not perfect. It's a mess.
Yes.
You know
It's
what I mean?
yeah, it happens when you don't expect it. It just
Yeah,
comes up on you, you know.
you do not go. I've been in the military. I'm telling you, I saw craft in the military. It's not that perfect.
Yeah.
You're panic. You're like you're worried. You're ready to engage this whole thing. After all these people coming forward and speaking, like it's too perfect. Like it that smells like BS. I'm not saying the soldiers, the people working, yeah, they saw what they saw, but it's fitting a narrative. We don't know what this is. They know exactly what this is. And that's why I like and respect Greer, because Greer said all along, they know exactly what the Nimitz is. He said from day one, it's a Lockheed classified project. End of story. Stop. Stop. And then years later, the truth comes out and they told David Fravor, they emailed him and said, hey, it's a classified project. That's it. Stop. Don't talk about it. You know, someone from the CIA emailed him and said it's a classified program. That's all it is.
No. I was in the
So
military 3 years, and I was at Redstone Arsenal, Alabama, top secret security clearance. But I didn't see any UFOs back then. But the thing of it is,
right.
if I would have seen a UFO back then, would they respected my opinion more than they do now as a common civilian? You know, like you're saying that you know, I think anybody who sees something and is very sincere about it, I think any contactee can give us information that we need to get over this hump with this disclosure. And let's go back to you talking about Stephen Greer and contacting, you know, these UFOs. How can one meditate, and what are some of the meditation techniques? And you're a psychic also, and how can we contact UFOs and spirits, Andrew? I mean,
If you go on YouTube, go to the Monroe Institute, any of their meditations are excellent. I personally use the Gateway Voyage Open Exercise. That's what it's called. You can look it up. It's on YouTube. Just press play and guide along. It's so easy. That's the best one out there. That's what I use. You could also go on Dr. Greer's C-SETI app that he has, his Serious Disclosure app. He has all his meditations, which are excellent. But the best, the Monroe Institute, go to their YouTube page and they have all sorts of meditations for whatever you're looking for. That's the easiest way on whatever topic you're doing. What I also do is I do transcendental meditation or I do a silent meditation because when I communicate with spirits, they're coming through in silence. UFOs, interdimensional beings, Monroe Institute, their guided meditations are excellent for that. But for straight spirits, contact with our loved ones, they can only come through in silence. So you have to quiet the mind. So I just sit in a silent meditation and it will come through. I usually do 20 minutes twice a day. That's the best way to contact them. Sit for 20 minutes. And then usually after the meditation, your mind is centered. And then either through training with a psychic like myself, they can help you tap in, or some people just naturally are able to communicate. Everyone's different.
mhm. I I really think that you know people have they go into this deep. I get a lot of things when I go into a deep sleep, and I get these vivid, lucid dreams, and it tells me things. I can tell you who I think this here about 7 or 8 days ago. I can tell you who I think they were that was in charge of this fear. They showed a couple of pictures, and they're very white and pale faced with blonde hair. So that tells me they were Nordics or tall whites that were involved in this incident that I had 2 weeks ago. Because they give me a couple of pictures. So just a glimpse of what they were like. So I could see the eyelashes were blonde, you know, from one picture. They don't give the whole face, they just fuzz it out and they just give you little bits and pieces. But I'm glad that they did because it told me who they were about 2 weeks ago, and the little grays were helping them. So that's what they were, the worker bees. So that gives me the indication of who this was a couple of weeks ago. But we're talking about, you know, this whole thing about disclosure and what's going on all over the world. I mean, we got UFOs everywhere. Is there a meaning to this, Andrew? Is there something that's coming that we what do you think is going to happen in the next few months?
So I think that, this is part of the mystery of life. We're not supposed to know everything. We're never going to know everything. And the ETs aren't just going to show up, okay, unless there's a nuclear disaster or something to end our reality. We have to evolve and do the work. It's like a child. You have to watch a child grow. You don't want to see them get hurt or harm themselves, but they're going to get bumped along the way because they need to learn on their own eventually when you're not around. It's the same thing, I believe. So no big thing is going to happen. If it is, it's some nonsense that some false flag thing, but they're only going to show up if it's the doomsday end of the world thing, literally. And I don't see that happening. Once again, no one wants the end of the world. They just want to keep us enslaved. Okay. So your mind is very powerful. So through meditation, you can free your mind, but you have to meditate. You have to sit still. If you don't sit still, you're going to stay trapped. So for me, I sit still, I free my mind, the thought. I free the thought out and I can sit silent. If I don't, my mind's running all over the place. That monkey mind comes. So once again, you have free will. You can choose what to do and what not to do. But the ETs are directly connected and tied to us. They've always been here since the beginning of time. They're always going to be here. But they've always expressed to me that it is ultimately up to us and what we want to do and where we want to go. As we evolve, they evolve. So, and there is no harm. The only harm or threat that out there in the cosmos is humanity to itself.
And we're in a lot of turmoil now. We got several wars going on, and we've got people against each other politically. And I don't think the ETs want that. We keep hearing the word consciousness, and I think that's an important word, right, Andrew?
Sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Awareness, consciousness, reality, all that. Yeah. And you want to raise your consciousness, raise your vibration. And I teach people all the time how to meditate, how to learn how to meditate. And most people will do it. And then some people say, I can't sit still. And I always say, here's the choice. You could do the work now and work it out, or you can wait until the tea is overflowing and spilling all over the floor and then try to pick it up. Good luck. But you don't have to wait till that point. Do it now. Do it and be proactive. It's a lot easier to be proactive with this stuff than reactive. Okay. But people waking up or evolving, unfortunately, a lot of people don't do it until they experience a great loss. I know because I have people all the time coming. I did all these things, blah, blah, blah. And now my partner died, my child died, my blah, 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 all this stuff. And now I'm desperate. I don't have any other option. I wish it wasn't that way for people. And I have to say, they don't have to wait for that. You don't have to wait for that. You can be proactive. And then when those things happen in life, okay, not that you're ready, but you are a little better prepared, a little bit, as opposed to just not doing it, rolling the dice, and whatever happens. I don't recommend that. Okay, I've been through it. I grew up in New York. I'm a kid of a 9/11 survivor. I've been through all that stuff. You know what I mean? We don't have to be reactive. We can be proactive, prepare ourselves by meditating daily. That's how I stay prepared for anything.
Now, the interdimensional beings, they come from another dimension, and spirits come from another dimension, right? I mean, our spirit, our soul goes to another dimension. Could you explain that? Is there a difference between what dimension they come from
So
with the
I
spirit?
think our soul part, I think if you look at the ancient Egyptians, which I've studied them at length, they believe that there's parts of the soul. One of the parts stays here, one moves on. They all could do different things. So if there is a part that stays here, that's the one that's a poltergeist. That's the one we're interacting with. Because it's not the whole thing, it's just part of. And then the other parts of the soul go and do where they got to go. But yes, one of them moves on to another reality or life or dimension. Once again, I think these are terms. We're just putting the best that we can onto these terms, but we are not capable of comprehending the true God's will or what really happens. I just don't think we're even capable of realizing how amazing and special and sacred we are and the soul is. And we won't until we go there and we transition. And it's meant to be like that.
Mhm.
Because if we knew, what would be the point of doing this or doing right. You know what I mean? If you said, "Oh, I know what's going to happen anyway, it's no big deal." No, once again, it's like a mystery or like a treasure hunt. That's how I think this reality is.
I know that the extraterrestrials they're more attracted to our bodies than they are our souls because they cannot take our soul. They say the demons can or devil can, but that's all fear factor, you know. So, and then they tell you that throughout history has been all wrong. They've been telling us, they've been making us fearful of things so we be under control. And a lot
Yeah.
of times, I hate to say it, it's biblically, they've done that in the Bible, and they rewrote the Bible in the 325 AD, King Constantine. And so they did it to control the masses, I believe. And how could we believe just about anything except I pray to the source and the creator? And because we've been sometimes I think there's a couple of different gods that they talk about, and we got to be careful which God we actually meditate and pray to. What's your opinion on that, Andrew?
Yeah, if you like ancient Egypt, or you talk with other people from backgrounds, I've been all over the world. Which God? What God are you talking about? And I think that people don't even realize the God that they're truly praying to. Or if you look in the history of the God of your religion or whatever, if you really truly look into the history, you might be surprised what you're praying to. So for me personally, I just feel that my God is an all-loving God. He's not jealous. He's not. He's perfect. He doesn't need anything from me. He just wants me to experience. That's my belief. That's just what I personally believe. So have fun, do your thing, do the right thing, love one another. But I don't owe anything. Just do the right thing. It's in you. I don't have to be told you have to do this or this is going to happen. I know already. I don't know, it's just in me. I just feel that. I don't have to read something for something to guide me, to tell me to do anything. I just feel drawn. And if I feel drawn to something and it has a good response, I'm going to do more of that.
Hmm. Well, you being a psychic, you could probably read other people pretty fast. And I'm
Oh, yeah.
been sitting here this past hour thinking, is Andrew reading me? You probably are. And if you're a psychic like you are, you're going to walk into a room and you're going to be able to, make eye contact with people and almost tell what they're like or who they are. Are they dangerous? Are they fun? Are they good people? Sometimes you can tell that. Even a common ordinary person can do that. And
Oh, yeah.
when you're in the military, you're trained to pick out danger. And I can walk into a room and I can see somebody, oh, that guy could be dangerous. So you got to be careful. It's you're not judging anybody. It's just a thought that you're thinking when you walk into a room. It's for your own good, whatever. But uh, you've done some psychic work for some, I guess, popular people. You can't mention their names or anything like that, but movie stars or whatever. What are some of the big psychic events that you come across, Andrew, in your lifetime? Can you
Some of the big psychic what?
events that you've had that when you talk to somebody that it was phenomenal even to you?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? It's interesting. So there's this expression, more money, more problems.
Mm.
So, just because you have that, right, there comes a lot to that, comes a lot with it. So everyone's unique in their own way. Everyone's special in their own way. Some people are famous, say, I don't want this anymore. I just want to be a regular person. And then regular people say, I just want the spotlight. So, right, once again, we're chasing something. Everyone's chasing something instead of just being present and making the most of what you have. And yes, I've read a lot of famous people, tons. Oh my God, tons. And I've read a lot of people like my neighbors, you know what I mean? So I'm here for anyone. I don't discriminate. When I was a fireman, I used to run into burning buildings. I never asked anyone who you are, where you're from, what's your religious background. I just took care of them. So that's all I do. I'm meant here to just look out for whoever or whatever.
Yeah, that's okay. I guess we can finish up on this. We're running over an hour, so I want to try to keep it there. Andrew, you still there, buddy? I think I lost Andrew. Andrew, you still there? Okay, I guess Andrew, we've lost connection with him. I'll just close up. You've been listening to The Strange Reality with Dave Emmons. Andrew Radziewicz was my Radziewicz is was my guest, and we were just talking about how I wanted to talk to him about how to get in contact with him, but you can get it www.psychicfirefighter.com, and you can go to the YouTube and look him up there, and I'll have that in the narrative in the show. I want to thank everybody for listening. Thank you, and good night to everybody. And Andrew Radziewicz, thank you for doing the show, and I'll be back next week or this next 2 or 3 days, and I want to thank you for listening, and good night to everybody.